guys, so I'm out in my garden in order to pick some basil to put in my tomato sauce. Of course, these are the fresh tomatoes from my garden. Alright, so let's get some basil. Okay guys, so we're going to be making some tomato sauce. That was my timer. I had my oven preheating at 230 degrees Celsius or 450 degrees Fahrenheit in order to roast these tomatoes. As I was about to say, we're going to be making some tomato sauce from our homegrown tomatoes, okay? So, like I said, I had my oven preheating. So first I'm going to put some extra virgin olive oil on my pan here. Okay. And we want to take out the stems from all our tomatoes. So what I did to take it out is just put your knife in like this and then go in a circular motion and you remove your stem like this, okay? All right, so now that this is removed, what I'm going to do is cut the tomato. Let me see, can you see what I'm doing? Let me just shift this to the side. I'm going to cut the tomato this way, okay? So this is where the stem would have been. So I'm going to go this way, cutting it in half then, okay? All right, so we have our tomato and we're going to put it face down in our olive oil, okay? Now what I also want to do is to flavor the olive oil as the tomatoes is roasting. So I smashed some garlic. This is about 4 garlic. I smashed it because you know smashing it helps to release the allicin, which has the flavor compounds. So I'm just going to randomly throw this garlic here, and this is simply because I just want to add flavor to this olive oil that I have in the pan here, okay? So let's get to slicing or halving, cutting in half. Let's get to cutting in half all our tomatoes. This one here, I will just cut it this way. So we're going to be roasting these tomatoes. This might take about 45 minutes to an hour in order to roast. So we're roasting it before we make the sauce, because what we want to do is remove the skin actually. We're going to be removing our tomato skin in order to make our sauce. All right, so we have our last one here. Let's put some. All right, I want to get some of the oil on top of the tomato as well. Let's move that to the side. So I'm just gonna drizzle some more on the top of the tomato. Okay, this is extra virgin olive oil that I'm using. All right, so to help, let's take some of the oil from the bottom. I'm just gonna rub our tomatoes rather, because it's more than one, with this oil. And because I put the garlic in as it's roasting, that will help to infuse and give that garlic flavor to it. Okay, see how it's shining, it's glistening. Okay, good. So let's put this in the oven now in order to roast. Okay guys, so we have finished roasting our tomatoes. What I did is I roasted this for about 60 minutes, and then what I did was I put on my broiler and I put it to broil for a few minutes, okay? So now what we're going to do is remove the skin from our tomatoes. Let me just put this here so I can rest the skin in it. So as you can see, the skin comes off easily now. Let me get to removing the rest of the skins and I'll be back. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to saute our onions until golden brown. Let's put some extra virgin olive oil here. And we're going to saute our onions. This is going to take a while because we want to saute this until it's nice and golden brown. Just put the onion by itself because the onion will take longer to saute. Let me remove this. We don't add the garlic at this point in time. Garlic can burn very quickly. So we always add the onions first and we saute this. So let me leave this to saute and get brown and then I'll be back. Okay guys, so now that our onion is golden brown, we're now going to add in our tomatoes along with the tomato juice. Because remember, the tomato juice has flavor because we had put some garlic in it, right? So we don't want to lose that. Go on that piece. Trying to see if I can get this to tilt. But oh, I just hit my camera. I think that's the best I can do. All right. So we're gonna mix everything together now. Actually, you know what, guys? I did make a mistake. I should have added in my garlic first. All right, so let's add in the garlic now. I should have added in my garlic and my thyme first. So this is about 1 teaspoon of dried thyme. So that was a mistake. So guys, what you want to do is add your garlic first and your thyme and saute that a little bit and then add your tomatoes. So don't make the mistake that I just made. So we're just going to have to saute this a little bit in order to cook this garlic a little bit. I'm just using my spatula and breaking up the tomato so we get it into like a sauce. All right, so as this is marrying a little bit, we're going to leave this sauce to marry for a few minutes. I'm going to add in my basil. I just ripped up the basil, just like a rough, tear. We're going to add some salt because remember we didn't add any salt, so we need to season. So let's add some salt to this. Okay. That's sea salt. I'm also going to add some Mrs. Dash garlic and herb seasoning blend as well to it. Remember, this doesn't have salt, but it has a number of other seasoning in it, like black pepper, rosemary, and so forth. Okay, so we're going to add that. Now, I'll tell you something. I'm going to leave this to marry or to cook for about maybe about 10 minutes, 8 to 10 minutes. We're going to taste our sauce to see if it is acidic. Now, if it is acidic, we have two options. Either we can use sugar to cut down some of the acidity, or we can use fat to cut down the acidity. So we can either add butter to it, or ghee, or we can add sugar. All right, but let's just leave this just as is, just to allow all the flavors to marry, because remember we added the the garlic and so forth. At this point, I'm also going to taste to see if I need to add any more salt. So let me get a spoon here. Take some of this. It's going to be hot, so I'm going to have to blow it. Okay, it does taste good, but it could take a little more salt. So let's put a little. I think I will add some actually jaggery powder, which is a raw cane sugar. I would just put a touch of that. I think putting a touch of that will be a nice balance. Well, you can use brown sugar if you want, but I think if I put a little bit of the jaggery powder, the raw cane sugar, I think that will add a nice balance between the savory, balancing the savory along with the sweet. Okay, but let's just leave this so that we can infuse the sauce with the garlic and the basil. Guys, what I'm going to do in order to add a little extra flavor to my tomato sauce, I'm going to add some tomato paste to it. All right, so I'm just going to add some tomato paste. All right, at this point, I still want this to, you know, saute down a little bit more again with the flavors. So at this point, I'm going to add about 1 tablespoon of jaggery powder, or as I said, you can use brown sugar if you want. All right, so just mix everything. We will leave this. Now I have this on a low heat. We just want to simmer this on a low heat because we want to combine all those flavors together. Okay guys, so I decided after tasting that I would add another tablespoon of my jaggery powder to it. So remember, you taste as you go, as you're cooking, and then you could adjust to suit. I can't really give you a measurement for that because this really has to do with the taste, you know. So you will taste and determine if you want to add more. Like I said, if you want, again, to cut acidity, you could also add fat. So you can add butter if you want to cut down some of the acidity. But this sauce, guys, is really tasting good. Nothing like a sun-ripened tomato from your garden, non-sprayed. So this has no pesticides as the foundation for making your tomato sauce. Now, of course, as you saw, we picked out basil fresh from the garden as well. So this tomato sauce that we made here, guys, could be the basis now for other dishes. So for example, you can have this with pasta, you can have this with fish, you can have this with chicken. This is the basis for a number of other dishes. So I'm actually going to be having my tomato sauce with some pasta and some fish.